call this city council meeting to order.
6 p.m.
Mr. Gobernador, the leaders of the pledge, please.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Gobernador. Before we continue, I want to go ahead and wish you all a happy new year. Okay? Go ahead.
Establishment of quorum. Mr. Guillermo Madrid,
Here.
Mary Garcia Saxe, Gloria Rodriguez, and Jesse Gala.
Here.
May we have a quorum?
Go ahead.
Presentation. Item number 4, presentation by Emma Acosta regarding trash collection for the city of Socorro, Texas.
She called up and she was running a little bit late. When she called up, it was 10 minutes still. She was here at the other office, the main office. She should be here in a matter of minutes. Could we,
I make a motion to move this item number 4, to after item number 5.
After the consent. Second, after the consent.
We do have a motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Jesse Gandara, and this is to move item number 4 after the consent agenda. Mr. Madrid,
Yes.
Mary Garcia Saxon, Gloria Rodriguez, and Jesse Gandara.
Yes.
Item number 5, Mayor, we have several speakers,
Go ahead.
beginning with Suki Ramos.
Louis.
Mayor and Council, I please would ask you not to interrupt me, so I have to say what I have to say.
Ms. Ramos, you have 3 minutes, okay?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve as a historical landmark commissioner for the past 4 years. I know that when District 4 appointed me, it was with much trust in me. I really worked very hard and very diligently in trying to put together what was best for our historical district as well as for in the protection and preservation of our historical landmarks. I have had great concerns due to the fact that I have felt that we have not been given the respect, as I have mentioned in the past, lack of respect and support in the form that we're trying to put things together to help. We're trying to inform, even yes, you, our council, our attorney, and our city manager regarding what we are all about and how we're supposed to protect and preserve those historical landmarks. But to no avail have I been able to obtain for you to land in here and adhere to what is important to us. We have duties and responsibilities, but we have not been taken seriously. We have mentioned that we have had an application that came before us because there was work being done before it was brought to us, to our attention. I have great concerns for the director of the community center that has not followed through procedures as well as, and I feel that the city as well, because there are procedures to follow regarding the Texas Historical Commission and the statutes of Texas as well that we're under. I must say that I have called, I've tried putting budgets together so that I could present to you as to what we needed to function. You do have a duty to respond to us, to provide for us as a commission. We are not in your organizational chart. We're nowhere to be found. I did call our city manager to try to talk to him regarding certain very important issues that we have, to discuss budgets, to discuss concerns about our historical Rio Vista Park complex that is so important to us. but I feel that work is being done there without following proper procedures. All I wanted is to do well and to do it ethically right. I had nothing against nobody, but I am against when we do wrong, when we do not listen to or adhere to what is policy, rules, or regulations. And I've said it, I will humble myself if I need to learn something that I don't know, but I've yet to hear it. Now I hear at this time that we might not even exist. We're supposed to have, I asked for training over and over for the past 4 years. We haven't received it yet. We asked for the Robert's Rules of Order training, so simple, and yet we was due this Saturday. We was not posted for us to hold that training. Why?
Ms. Ramos, your time is up.
Our attorney did not respond, and Council Gandara, may I return this to
You'll
you?
be able to see manager, this is at city property.
Yes, you never returned what I asked you, I never wore them. Thank you.
Our second speaker is Maria Reyes. Mrs. Reyes, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. City Council, it just astonishes me that Kent is going to get water with the Lower Valley District. They have had 8 meetings, and now all they need is time and patience. Yet our City Council can't get that basic need here in Socorro to areas deemed absolutely necessary. Yet they can give city manager a 47,000 raise, the judge a raise, get a police consultant, pay 1.6 million for 7 acres. That's the phrase that 155,000 for a multi-park, part of it being a water park, where next to these acres, people don't have running water. Socorro has 8 parks that city can't even maintain now. Also, a new city employee job was created by the city manager for Jeannie Lopez as Recreation Department Director. Who signed the city manager's contract? Jeannie Lopez. Remember the $47,000 raise? Also, I have requested information as to how much we have paid the law firm that represents the city of Socorro. I was denied that information, some rhetoric about confidential information. I don't want client cases or any other information, just a monetary figure as for each month for the year 2009 and 2010. Rough guess, 2009, 400,000. Who knows for 2010? As a taxpayer, I have the right to know where our money is going to and how much. There is no transparency. In District 4, as for sister of the previous judge, I don't have to fight his battle. He's a grown man. He can fight his own battle. District 2, and yes, you haven't done anything, not even to review the plan of the gazebo that was assigned to you in December. Same goes to District number 3. Much less work with Mrs. Reynolds on this historical issue. As I have said and stated before, you're nothing but arrogant and self-serving, but you will be recalled.
Mayor, our next speaker is John Ventura.
Good evening,
Mr.
Mayor,
Ventura, you
Council.
have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. I wasn't quite sure how to, I guess, make a request here that under the consent agenda, you have item number 8. I'm respectfully requesting that you pull that for discussion. I'd like to make some comments there, or I didn't know how to proceed anymore. So I'm asking for your guidance whether you'll pull that, or should I make my comments on item number 8 now?
Did he sign up for item number 8?
Yes, he did. For open, public comment and number 8.
Well, you can jump up on item number 8 if you want to. You can make your comments or whatever you're going to comment, but if you're going to comment on number 8, why do it 2 times?
Yeah, okay, well, I'd like to wait until it comes up, but I wasn't sure if you would do a mass sweep and approve everything under consent agenda or not. So, but anyway, the last item, I respectfully request that you would entertain too is the organizational chart that you just kind of recently did. You have heard Ms. Ramos, we are not acknowledged anywhere, none of the commissions are, so I think it'd be a quick fix for you to kind of make the adjustment and at least acknowledge the fact that the city of Socorro has commissions, D&Z, civil service, board adjustments, historical landmark. And I guess they would fall either aside from the mayor and council or underneath as you have here. But, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Janet Gutierrez. Ms. Gutierrez, you have 3 minutes.
Mayor and council, I have come before you with a legitimate complaint about your police department and your judge. In October, my son was at a family barbecue. The police showed up, one of the kids was handcuffed, thrown to the ground, his mother was shoved, and the kids were manhandled. No one had the rights read to them, the kids were given tickets, and this went on for a couple of hours. My son was charged with minor possession of alcohol. He had a Pepsi in his hand. I was never contacted by your police department, and my son is a minor. Your officers at the scene misused their authority. They threatened the kids and acted like a bunch of outlaws. I have gone to the city and filed for an open public record for this police video. To this day, I still have not received that video. The police department doesn't want anyone to see this video because they know what they did was against the law. I have contacted the Attorney General, and I am in the process of filing a complaint. I have hired a lawyer, and I plan on suing the city. Mayor and council, you are allowing your officers to get away with their conduct, and it is unacceptable. When we went to court on this bogus charge, my juvenile son had to defend himself against the prosecutor. The officer blatantly lied on the stand, and the judge in no way allowed my son to defend himself. My son was railroaded by your one-sided criminal system. I have gone numerous times to see the judge to get on a payment plan. He's never available. The citizens of Socorro pay our taxes. That is the judge's paycheck. He is a citizen of Socorro. He is no better than the rest of us. We deserve a judge that is impartial, that listens and understands both sides, not just automatically siding with your police. Citizens should be able to look at the police department and judge with respect, not disgust. Citizens of Socorro fear the police because they are not supervised, they do not follow the laws or rules, they are corrupt, and they are allowed to treat innocent people however they want because they get away with everything. Citizens of Socorro deserve better treatment by their police department and their judge. You, as a council, are the ones that can stop this behavior and their unlawful ways. Socorro deserves better. Thank you.
Mr. Soto, can you meet with Mrs. Gutierrez, please?
Do we have a phone number and address?
Yes.
Please, Mr. Soto.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Gutierrez.
Our next speaker is Juan Castañeda. Mr. Castañeda, you have 3 minutes.
Beginning Happy New Year to everybody, everyone in both houses. Best wishes to all of you. The reason why I'm here is because I came from where I lived before. I still living over there. I've been living there for over 40 years on 627 Milan Drive. The cars, they run like if there was racing over there on the street. Sometimes they don't know. One, other, some kids over there, they start working on the city camp, but I never do anything at all. And we need the safety for our kids. The first thing is to go to one, we need a good people like you, and somebody to be responsible to do their job. Only not for the people of support, for the kids of people. Thank you very much.
Mayor, those were all the speakers. We go back to presentation item number 4. Presentation by Emma Acosta regarding trash collection for the city of Socorro, Texas.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Representatives. I'm Emma Acosta, and I have a consulting company named Emma Acosta Consulting Company. And I just want to disclose that I am also an elected official from the city of El Paso as a city representative. But today I'm here before you as a consultant. My assistant that is passing out some information on what I'm going to provide you, Michelle, and she's my assistant, and she's also my granddaughter who works very cheaply. So with that, first I'd like to wish all of you a very happy new year, and I know that this is going to be a very productive One of the things that I think all of us know is that we've heard it on the news, we've heard it everywhere. The state of Texas is in a deficit, and they're shifting more and more of the burden over to the municipalities and the local communities, which means that now the local communities have to actually look for ways to generate revenue, to find out with ways where you can finance some of the infrastructure that we currently have, or perhaps even build new infrastructure. So with that, the introduction, I'm introducing myself. I've given you two of my resumes. One is pretty detailed and provides you with the information about my past career, my former career in the city of El Paso, in which I retired as the Director of Solid Waste Management, which is now Environmental Services. But during my career, I also worked in many areas of city government, not just solid waste management. All the way from being at the tax office to being at the police department to being the public works office of management and budget, where we compelled the entire city budget and actually did a lot of revenue forecasting. And then I went on and worked for the last 10 years of my career with the Department of Solid Waste Management. We did have, it's a rather large department. It did generate approximately $30 million worth of revenue, in which we actually had, you do your maintenance and operation, and then part of it was also capital equipment. And so we went through a series of issues where the city went from having what they would call a Cadillac service, which means that, the trash collection truck would come up to your house, and men would actually go outside or get out of the truck, go to your backyard, and pick up the trash and bring it back to the truck. Well, that caused a lot of injuries. So then we moved on to curbside, and that meant that now the owner of the house had to put their trash on the curbside, and then the personnel would pick it up from and it cut back on personnel costs, and also cut back on some of the workers' compensation. From then on, we moved on, and we said, well, we need to be even better than that. So, with technology being what it is, we went on to automated service, which is what the city of El Paso now has. And so that meant new equipment, a new type of operation. And so during my career, in those 10 years, I went through all these phases. So I'm very familiar with the solid waste management operations, with environmental laws, dealing with our state Commission on Environmental Quality, and the many issues that arise with that. Obviously, we had other operations in the city, including the transfer station and the landfill, which meant more regulations. But anyway, this is one of my career. When I retired, then I created my own business, and I did consulting on the many aspects of things that I had learned, along with my education. I do have a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Texas at El Paso, and I have a master's degree in business administration from Mercer University. And so that was, I got that at the local subsidiary in Santa Teresa. And so along with that, I went on and I did have several clients in which I did a lot of analysis for them, presentations for them, if they wanted to present to other cities or municipalities. I did a lot of research, I do grant writing, I do a lot of analysis, operational analysis, and things of that nature. And I'm telling you this because I don't want you to think that all I talk about is trash. Okay. That is my main focus. I talk about trash. But during this whole introduction that I have, I had Representative Madrid who approached me and asked me if I thought that it might be a good idea for the city of Socorro to actually entertain the option of maybe building a department of solid waste management where you would actually do your own collection and possibly generate some revenue, have a revenue stream. And so then we talked about, some other options that were available. And at that short meeting, we also had Representative Rodriguez was there, as well as city manager and Mr. Public. So we talked about a lot of things that maybe the city might entertain, might want to do. And obviously, what I'm presenting to you today is kind of just bullet points some of the things that may be available to you. And if you wanted my services, then I would actually do a more in-depth analysis of those options. So with that, the first under options for solid waste management service for the city of Socorro, the first one is, do you actually want to create a department? And along with that, obviously you would have capital costs to incur initially, because you have to have equipment, you have personnel costs, and of course all the operational costs and fees that would be associated with that. You would incur debt, but you would also generate revenue to pay off that debt. Then the other thing that we talked about was, do you want to do just residential collection, or do you actually want to entertain some commercial collection as well? And so those were two different options that you might have. Thirdly was the building option, and that was something that you could either do on your own or continue to contract with somebody. Right now, the Lower Valley Water District does your garbage collection, and they charge approximately $17. Based on the U.S. Census and their increased projections, we don't know their real projections until too much on that. But you have approximately anywhere from 9,000 to maybe 9,200 homes here in Socorro. About 8,500 of those are actually occupied. And so that would be what you would have as a stream generator. So that you would charge, based on what they're charging, that would be a revenue stream for you. There is a provision in the law that actually gave them the option of doing solid waste management collection services for those municipalities and townships that did not have such a service. But I have not talked to the Lower Valley Water District because I don't know what you want to do. But I do know that there is an opportunity for you to actually say, you know what, we want to do that ourselves. And so therefore, the citizens of Socorro will be paying the city of Socorro to provide that service instead of the Lower Valley Water District. So if that were an opportunity that you would have, then obviously then you have to entertain, okay, what are the equipment needs, what are the upfront costs that we're going to incur, along with, are we going to do the billing ourselves, or are you going to actually contract that out? That was one of the scenarios that we had talked about. The other option that we talked about was maybe you would contract with the private sector and do what is called in some municipalities revenue sharing, where you would actually say, we're going to contract with you. You can come into our city, you have exclusive rights to do our garbage collection, and it's a guaranteed, this is a guaranteed clientele. You don't have to go in and bargain for it. But along with that, then you also get a portion of that revenue. Okay, obviously the revenue stream may not be as much, but it's also an option that you might have. Next, we also talked about maybe sharing services with another municipality. One that maybe already provides the service, and asking maybe they would want to do it for you, and along with that, what are the ramifications? Would they be willing to actually provide you with some kind of an incentive? Would they be willing to actually say, well, we're going to collect, and yes, we have a little bit of excess money. We are either going to give it to you or invest back in the community. These are some of the things that you can do. The other thing that you may find a possibility in doing without having to incur upfront costs or initiate contractual services would also be, exploring the possibility of creating a franchise fee for the service provider, the one that is providing the service, because they're using your streets. They're using your streets and they're using your infrastructure, but they're not paying for it, in essence. So you could also entertain that option. There's a whole list of things that are possible. And obviously it requires a little bit more in-depth analysis of it. It would require a little bit more studying, especially on the law that gave the Lower Valley Water District the opportunity to actually provide you service. Can you get out of that contract? Do we have to go back to the legislature? And along with that, this is the most opportune time if you had to do that, because the legislature is in session right now. And so that would provide you with an avenue of maybe possibly pursuing that and hopefully getting that. Other factors to consider, obviously, and I've already talked about it, was that state law that initiated the service in the county of El Paso, because they do provide service for other areas other than Socorro. But I believe Socorro is the largest one that they're providing service for. We would need to explore the limitations on initiating a franchise fee to a governmental entity, because in essence, the Lower Valley Water District is a municipal utility district. And so, I don't know whether we can charge them a franchise fee for using your infrastructure or not. That's something that we also need to explore. Again, when these analyses are compiled, any other factor that may be out there that I'm not, maybe presented to you today would also be part of that. Each option that you select, if any, would be evaluated. Cost estimates would be provided to you for each option that you select, what it would cost you, whether you offer that cost, how long would it take for you to actually generate a good revenue stream, when you would have to actually, the life of the equipment that you would need. The pros and cons of each option that is evaluated. Many times we have, you're presented with opportunities, and many times it's like, well, everything is positive. Well, in many cases, you have positive and you have negative. And so along with that, I think it's important that you as a council, because you are making a decision for the city, that you have that information, that you know what the initial pro is, why should we get into it, and what are the defects of this option that we're going to undertake. Any of the evaluations or any of the options that you would take, obviously a final report would be provided to you so that you could actually evaluate it and entertain it, and then you would come back as a council and decide which opportunity you wanted to actually explore. I do believe that solid waste management, the collection of it is a revenue generator. It does provide you with the options of whether you have a department, but you can also have parts of the department indirect costs, money that would go back to the general fund that you can actually use for different operations of your department, whether it's to pay off debt, whether it's to maybe pay more students, whether it's to hire more personnel in other areas. There's a whole multitude of opportunities for you. You could initiate, again, some of that revenue to hire more compliance officers. It just depends on what you would want to do and undertake as a council, if you even wanted to explore some of these opportunities. And of course, with that, I conclude, and if there's any questions, I'll be more than willing to answer them for you right now.
Is there any questions?
Yes.
You worked in the city of El Paso in waste management for 3 years.
For 10 years.
10 years. Have you ever worked, with the Lower Valley Water Utility Board?
No, what we did when the Lower Valley Water District, what they did was, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago because I give away my age, but when I was still there at the department, and they undertook this option to actually provide solid waste services, and they came to us, and I was a joint entity, and initially what we had wanted to do was the city of El Paso was to actually do a service out here in the border. But at that time, the mayor was not willing to do that because we were still kind of building up the department. We were still building up, our automated service. And so what we did do was with the then, I believe the then director of the Lower Valley Water District was at the line. And so we had worked well with him before in other operations. We do own the city of El Paso does own the Plant Mesa. And so we had worked with him before, and so he came to us and we helped him develop the specifications for the equipment, specifications for the parts that we now use. And then we also provided him with, the actual job description for the truck drivers. And then when everything happened, they actually went out and did it, and then we actually provided some training opportunities to train the drivers on how to use the truck and how to use, how to pick up the containers. And, you may think it's easy, but it's not that easy. So we had a very good working relationship. So we did help them in writing specifications for both the equipment and the poly cards and the training on the operators and, answering calls from, the public on what to expect. You will have, because that's a con, everything's going to be hunky-dory at night. You will have complaints from the citizens. We have them all the time, right? And so, we helped them, set up the whole program. And I believe that they were very satisfied with it, with our working relationship that we had both with the board and the Department of Solid Waste Management that I managed.
Obviously, the Lower Water District it was mandated by the legislature that it had the wastewater, trash, the water, the collection services and all that. So that's a legislative issue as we look at it, or you provide some options and those options don't
One
concern
of the things, I
legislative.
read the legislation that addressed that, and it said that they provided them the opportunity to provide solid waste management services in the areas that had none. It did not say that it was mandatory. It said it provides them the opportunity to go out there and actually, if you don't have it, then they can do it. Who say it's mandated? But again, I'm not an attorney, so, it can be interpreted in many ways. But I believe that now is if you wanted to explore that option of taking it over, it may be the opportune time because you have the ability right now to go back to the legislature and say, you know what, we're going to take over this service, and we need to write that into the legislation. And it's a local option, so more than likely, local options, if you talk to your state representative, which again, I would do for you, more than likely they would say yes. Because again, as I said, the state of Texas is shifting more of the responsibility to the municipalities. And so the municipalities are then have the burden, are faced with the burden, trying to come up with additional revenue. And obviously, we all know, we have a limitation on how much we can tax our community. And so this is an option. It's something that citizens are already paying, are already used to paying. The only thing that would differ would be that the city of Socorro would do it versus the Lower Valley Water District. So these are things that we need to explore. And obviously, we probably need to do it very soon if you want to explore that option, because again, the legislature only needs them what's made. And so right now they're starting to file bills, and so most of the local options usually are passed without any discussion. So, but it would be something that you may want your state representative to actually sponsor the bill for you. We could help you draft. I could help you draft it. But again, it's an option for you to decide on whether you want to go that way, so that you want to see whether it's even feasible for you to do it. You may initiate that and say, in the future we're going to do it. We're not going to do it this year, but we're going to do it next year. So, it gives you, but it does give you the opportunity to actually do it.
So you'd be willing to work with a liaison with either the state rep or the legislature?
Yes, sir. And the other thing was also that I would also push the Lower Valley Water District. Because I think we need to, take it on as something that, this is not their main responsibility. Their main responsibility is water, not solid waste collection. And it does give them an additional revenue stream. But their main function should be water and not solid waste collection. And so I think that you have a very legitimate reason to say we want to take it over to our city. And the other thing that we can also explore at that same time is, if you find resistance, is that you can also entertain, the option of franchisee and asking them, you know what, you're using our infrastructure, you're going to every single house that we have here in our city, and you go to every street, and, you know, so you're start paying us for using our infrastructure. And that's something that, you know, other municipalities do throughout Texas and throughout many cities in the entire country.
That's a good point.
And then, well, I thank you. I thank you very much, and I do hope that, I believe that your city manager might probably want to let me know. And what I would do before I ever entertain anything is I would probably give him a complete, cost estimate on what, you know, what it would cost you. I believe I said the last time I'm not going to say the exact word, but I said it was very expensive. Because I believe that Socorro is, I said it was cheap. But I believe Socorro is also, it's part of my community. You know, I believe El Paso is part of my community. And every, area in El Paso is part of my community. And so I've done work out here, and I think that we all share the same concerns, the same interests. And obviously, we want to do what's right for the community. We want to do what's right for the citizens of Socorro. So thank you very much, and again, have a very happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
We move on to the consent agenda. Item number 6, approval of regular council meeting minutes of November 18th, special meeting of November 23rd and December 1st, and regular meeting of December 9th, 2010.
Well, actually, you're in consent, right? Yeah, consent is, unless you pull the items out. So, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, with the exception and pull out discussion, item number 8 and item number 10.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Madrid. And this is to approve the consent agenda and pull out items number 8 and 9. Mr. Madrid?
No.
I'm sorry, 8 and 10.
Oh, wait, except those two.
Approve that consent. Right, we're pulling out number 8 and 10. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 8, we have a speaker, discussion and action on proposed rezoning of tract 1A41, 1A44, lead card survey 293, from unclassified zoning to M1 light industrial. Mr. Joseph Flores?
Mayor, Council, first on this property, I'd like to be able to say that that annex area for future land use was deemed to stay as commercial, C1 or C2, not M1. Secondly, before I left P&Z, we had an item that came up with a gentleman down on North Loop that wanted the same kind of M1 classification. And what he wanted to do there was repair farm equipment and implements and sell those products. But he was going to do it all outdoors. Same thing that's happening here at this location. We have repair, I think it's just truck tire repair, truck changing. And if we look at light industrial M1, all the activity that takes place on that property has to be done in an enclosed building. That's why the gentleman's request from an M1 was reduced to a C2 because it fit him better, because C2 gives him still the latitude to be able to do what he wants to do. And likewise with this gentleman up the hill here, for years it was a vacant lot. The RV center kind of went out, and people made a mad dash to take up empty lots. So it's kind of like a business just appeared overnight. It's tractor trailer tire repair. If you go by the location now, you've probably got 50, 75 tires on the property already. You've got tractor trailers that are loaded with tires in it already. I truly believe that P&Z should have actually caught this one. I think it's well suited up on the avenue to be commercial. It's still too close to residential district. You have Cielo Azul that's right up on the hill there. Next to them pretty close. They're butted up against the Arroyo. We have lots of flooding from that area. I hope you take a serious look at this and not just dole out an M1 here. I think the avenue up along the gateway needs to be maintained as a commercial area. It would suit our needs better. And as an end result, because I would hope that you take the time to go down North Loop and look at the piece of property that was changed. Because the gentleman always told us, and kind of told you all too, that he would only do tractor repair, implement repair, and if you go down and look at the property now, it's pretty pathetic looking as to everything that's on it. It's become a mini junkyard is what it's become. Okay, so I would hate to see the activity take place again right here on the gateway where we're going to have and no control over how many tires that he's going to be able to keep on this property. So I think it's well suited. I don't think we allow people to work out of a shipping container as an office, and I think that's what's currently being used as an office for that particular location. So I would hope that you would table this item, not take an action on it, do a little bit more investigation on it, and if anything, if it has to have a classification, because it's coming from unclassified, that it be given a minimum, at least a C2, to help accommodate him to do what he wants to do. Thank you.
Mr. Dowdy, do you have any information on the project?
What is exactly number 8?
Even though P&Z says that special provisions shall be taken from the development and construction process to the effect of the development.
I didn't hear that.
On our paper, the P&Z says the planning and zoning commission recommends approval contingent to the following. Special provisions shall be taken from the development construction process due to the fact that this property is subject to be flooded. So it's here.
Mayor, Council, this is an approval request for the proposed rezoning of tracts 1A-41 and 1A-44, lead tract survey 293, City of Socorro, Texas, from unclassified zoning to M1 light industrial. The owner, Robert Maluli. The agent, Tony Lozano. The property is located at 11300 Gateway East at approximately 900 feet northwest of the intersection of Gateway East and Alisa Road. The property has an approximate area of 1.9 acres. According to the flood insurance rate maps, the reference property lies within an area with no base flood elevation determined, subject to be flooded by a 100-year flood, more particularly described as Zone A. Just to give additional information with respect to this paragraph, the Zone A is the most critical zone in the flood classification. The existing zoning classification of the property is unclassified zoning. The current land use of the property is vacant lot. The proposed zoning is M1 light industrial. The proposed land use is truck tire shop. According to our future land use map, the projected land use for this property is commercial industrial. Adjacent land uses. To the north, it's an industrial company, which is Dan William Company, City of El Paso. To the south, C2 General Commercial. East, is the Gateway East, the I-10. To the west, R3 High Density Residential, which is Cielo Azul subdivision.
The planning department has received the following documentation to date. Request for rezoning application fees, property deed, title guarantee, and tax certificate. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval contingent to the following. Number one, is a special provision should be taken on the development and construction process due to the fact that this property is subject to be flooded. This is the location of the property, site 10. This is the entrance of the arroyo, the existing arroyo coming from Sparks. This is the arroyo path, and this is the property. Although the property is vacant at the time of the development process, and because of the proximity with the arroyo and the zoning flood classification, it has special provisions. They need to implement, but at the construction and development process, not on this process, because this is just a rezoning case.
Mr. Leone, how much frontage does it have on the frontage road? I mean, does it have any, I'm assuming that little tip there's some sort of access point.
Well,
Does it have any access point to the frontage road?
actually, and more than likely, this is the total of the property. But since this is outside of the city limits, and we don't have zoning jurisdictions outside of our proper limits, they are requesting just to rezone this little portion of the area.
And is that a road on the south side of it?
Yeah, this is Indio Port. It's a road, but it's not public. It's a private road. Yes, sir.
So in other words, Mr. Leo, you really could want, if you really want, you could really put a tire shop there on the side of the Paso side?
Yes,
So
sir.
if you really wanted to?
Well, we cannot speak but on behalf of City of El Paso, but obviously the project and the application is for this area.
I understand that. You know, if we were not to approve this, he could go to the city of El Paso and open up his tire shop on the other side,
More than
and we would be out of the revenues.
Exactly.
With all due respect, Mr. Del Toro, you know, I'm looking at it business-wise.
That's correct.
That's county actually, right?
County or is it city?
That's county, right?
County.
So that's this regulation.
Yes, it'll be a lot easier for him to put his tire shops out of there.
Because they don't have a zoning
You
regulation.
know,
I got that our notes is right next to the arroyo. It's really in danger of putting anything.
where does the arroyo run?
Here.
Right there? So he does have pretty much an acre that will be safe, right?
He wishes to put it there, that's his issue, you know, his decision. But this is the city of support, where he wants to.
Yeah, actually, in order for them to put some kind of improvement here, they need to provide that this retaining wall probably might be sufficient to hold a possibility of flooding. It's not just a matter of putting a single rock wall or changing fence. That would be something sufficient.
That's pretty deep with it comes out on the ground, on the culvert.
That's
And another issue too is that something like this, we have to take the master plan into consideration before we grant any rezoning in that particular area because of the flooding. I don't know where we're at with the master plan, maybe Mr. Soto can help us with that, but the master plan is essential on something like this issue. And I agree with Mr. Del Toro. This is a very, very sticky issue. We grant a zoning change and they put a business there and they get gets vulnerable with the flooding, you know, we're the ones that grant them that permit. Where are we on the master plan, Mr. Soto?
The process is ongoing, Mayor, Council. We don't expect completion of the master plan until sometime this summer.
In some,
I think, actually, I think I kind of agree with both of you. I think the master plan is important because of the sensitivity of exactly where it's located by that flood, one of our major arroyos. However, I mean, it's, for me at least, it's almost right on the frontage road, or it is on the frontage road of I-10, which to me is commercial / industrial, which is M1 industrial. It's near the four corners there of the truck stops, so it makes sense if you put a truck tire shop next to a truck stop where petrol's at. So, I think the M1 zoning seems to be appropriate for that location on the frontage near petrol. However, I think here, Commissioner Madrid has a valid concern about what can we do to protect the integrity of the arroyo in that business. I know we put special instructions, but for instance, do we have the ability to, so they don't just do it on the yellow parts, even though we don't have jurisdiction in the county, come to an agreement that what he puts on the city of Socorro side, he'll extend all the way to the interstate.
You can impose that kind of restriction if you're planning to approve.
And when we say special instructions, what does that mean? Does he have to, before he can build, does he have to come to you and show you
Exactly.
the wall, and do we have guidelines to?
They need to provide that with professional engineer calculations and everything, the project, prior to any possible construction.
And was that in the special instructions, that you have to extend that required wall all the way to the interstate, not just on the city of Socorro side?
If that is the part of the condition, yes, we can do it.
I think what you're asking is whether or not that was one of the discussions about one of the potential, and I think it was with the Planning and Zoning Commission, if I remember correctly, it was the idea of reinforcing that some way or the other to provide some measure of protection against the flood. At least that's my memory of part of the discussion.
Mr. Leone, the retaining wall would be made out of what?
Has to be with reinforced concrete.
At what height?
Depending on the cubic feet per minute on that wall.
So you would project that to be how high of a wall?
Has to be sufficient, number one, to avoid any erosion and to avoid any possible pushing from the inside of the property to the outside of in direction to the
So are we talking a 3-foot reinforced concrete wall?
More than that.
More than that, huh?
Definitely.
and the depth of it is another issue too. It has to be deep enough, and that always about 10 foot, right side comes out. And it has to be a very, very steep wall.
That is correct.
I make a motion to deny.
Do we have a second?
Can we table?
You want to table for discussion?
Yes, we can look further into it and
Okay.
I make a motion to table.
second.
We have a motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Jesse Ganda, and this is to table item number 8. Mr. Madrid,
Yes.
Mary Garcia Sampson, Gloria Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
I have a request, please move item 12 to right now, operation, I'm pretty sure, he doesn't want to put there for.
Second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Beck, couldn't see it, I work at the table there.
I'm still.
We do have a motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Jesse Ganda, and this is to move item number 12 to be next on the agenda. Mr. Madrid,
Yes.
Mary Garcia Sanchez, Gloria Rodriguez, and Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 5, discussion and action on a resolution committing the city of Socorro to improve nutrition and physical activity.
Rodriguez?
We have a resolution on the city of Socorro, and it says like this. Committing Socorro to improve nutrition and physical activity, whereas in Socorro, Texas, 66% of adults are obese or overweight, whereas obesity and overweight are primarily a consequence of poor nutrition and physical activity, whereas improved nutrition and physical activity have benefits beyond weight control. Whereas improvements to the built environment include bike and pedestrian-friendly streets, adequate public transportation, access to healthy food retailers, access to parks, trails, and grocery stores, or the lack thereof, have a significant impact on the city rate. Whereas individual efforts alone is insufficient to combat obesity, striking high and significant societal and environmental changes are needed to support individual efforts to make healthier choices. Now therefore, let it be resolved that the city of Socorro hereby recognizes that poor nutrition and lack of physical activity are serious threats to the health and well-being of adults, children, and families in Socorro. And in light of the foregoing considerations, the city of Socorro makes obesity prevention a priority and commits to improving nutrition and physical activity in its community. Mr. Kuhn had come before some months before and talked to the mayor. Mayor, do you want to say something about this? No. Mr. Kuhn, would you like to come up and?
Mr. Kuhn, he signed up and he signed up to speak on this item.
And let us know the program you plan to bring to the board?
The what?
The program you plan to bring to the board?
I'm glad my 3 minutes didn't start when I got up. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and a Happy New Year. Many people call the obesity and overweight a crisis. We don't see that as a crisis. Cancer is a crisis. Well, you know what? Today, some cancers are a crisis. Many cancers are curable. We see the obesity and overweight problem that we experience all over the United States as something curable, something that we can be a part of and be an advocate for to get away from. City of Socorro will be an advocate for the citizens if they pass this resolution to build a healthier community, to sit here and look at the citizens, provide, things like safe walkways to schools. As I've drove through Socorro many times, that's a tough thing to do if you look around your city. Safe walkways. Start a community garden. Look at building sidewalks in new developments and adding sidewalks. Improving parks. Providing new programs into the city. Collaborating with agencies like the YMCA to help build this up. It's not something that we can do by ourselves. This is something City Council will take a step in helping the city of Socorro be a healthier community. We have to do this, and I would love to tell you that you're going to be the first city in the area, but unfortunately, El Paso passed this resolution just this morning. And my name is Bill Kuhn. I'm the executive director of the Bowling Family YMCA, and in the audience, and he's not up here backing me up, Kevin Pearson, the president and CEO of the YMCA. When Kevin came in to the YMCA about 3 years ago, as he overviewed what's going on with the YMCA, Kevin said, what about people south of the interstate? He said, we're serving everybody north of the interstate. Why are we not serving south of the interstate? And this will be a great step for us to start bringing programs into Socorro, into surrounding areas, to help build that community and build us a healthier community. So we ask you to pass this unanimously so we can work together, collaborate with all agencies and powers to be to make Socorro a healthier community. Any questions?
Claudia Garcia.
Mayor and I came here, I just heard through the grapevine that they were going to pass this resolution, and I said, well, as a community member, I want to show that we support this, or I support this. I believe strongly in healthy bodies, healthy communities. I run through here all the time. I mean, the police probably know me already because I can go down the streets and the canals everywhere. Okay, pretty much everything. I coach T-ball. Anything that has to do with health, nutrition, I support. So if you do this, that would be great. But I was sitting there thinking, how are you going to implement this? How are you going to do this? I mean, yes, build sidewalks, build stuff that's a requirement. But then I was thinking, what about the nutrition part? I mean, I don't know what ideas you have. Maybe any new restaurant permits, maybe giving some kind of 2-year tax break. I don't know. I was just thinking for those who will say, okay, I'm going to not make another Mexican restaurant here because that's all we're filled with, Mexican restaurants. But or maybe I'll open some kind of healthy kind of restaurant. And if we choose to, maybe 2-year tax, but not so much because I know you need the tax revenue, but something small to get started with. So I'm just yeah, super simple. We have nothing here. I run with I have a running group that I run with, but we meet on the east side, Mall in Zaragoza. And sometimes I bring them here, but we like to enjoy a cup of coffee afterwards, and we're like, just don't let them Starbucks, or not. You know, what can we go get? They like to eat oatmeal. There's nothing for us. So it's hard to convince my running group to come here to support them when there's nothing for them to have a dream or do afterwards. And I was just sitting there and I was reading this and I thought it was really cool. Races. I mean, I run up and down the canals on the street here all the time, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a 5K, city-sponsored 5K, get people down here. There was 200 participants in Horizon City. Why not here in Socorro? So just things to do. So yes, that's important. So I applaud whatever. So I guess I know you need time, so maybe I'd like to see a couple of years from now. Sure will, because I used to be the health education director for Centro San Vicente. I used to teach people how to take care of their bodies, chronic illnesses, all the time. I did that for many years. Now I'm a teacher, and, you know, and I see our children, my own students, so overweight. And the bicycle race that they had not too long ago, 3 Lopez, I noticed my vehicles there. I saw him. I ran the whole thing. I mean, I know I heard the police department. Did you run it? I ran the whole thing instead of being on a bicycle. And I was so sad. Yes, I ran the whole. They shorted me 2 miles though, because they ended up being 8 miles. But I didn't see hardly any kids. So what kind of promotion are we going to do? We passed it. So I'd like to see the city be proactive, not just yes, we passed a resolution and no ceremony. So, you know, I know it needs time, but I was hoping, I've been here to stay for a long time, to see slowly a restaurant, something more optional. Sadly, I end up taking my family and my children outside of Socorro to eat, you know. So I like to stay here. So, all right, that's it.
And you can also give your phone number, you can call Mr. Quinn.
Yeah, definitely.
What I think would be very helpful for the city of Socorro and its residents is to have a YMCA here in Socorro. Mr. Quinn.
I mentioned it to Mr. Quinn. I said, bring you on.
Back up.
Go ahead.
As I talk with most of the city council members, and it's hard to understand what a YMCA is. A YMCA is not a building. The YMCA is a community. And that's hard to understand. Well, we want this building, we want, you know what, it's a program. Many YMCAs, the YMCA of El Paso is celebrating 125 years of service in El Paso area. This is our year, it's our celebration year. It started as 19 men getting together, forming a YMCA as a Bible study group. That's what the YMCA 125 years was a Bible study group. And it takes concerned citizens like this young lady to come in and like Gloria and say, let's get something started and let's build programs here. You know, what kind of programs? Well, what does the community want? And we've been looking at that in the last few months. What does the city want? What do the adults want? What do the kids want? Where can we go? We don't need a building. We don't ask for buildings. We don't ask the city, Texas Stadium was built. A lot of these stadiums are built by tax dollars. We don't ask for that. We go into existing facilities and begin programming out of existing facilities. Right now, our Metro branch is running a program out of a church that has a concrete floor that we can do basketball in. We need a room. We need a field. We need anything we can get. Then we can start developing programs as we do a community assessment and seeing what the community wants. That's what the YMCA is. Then if the city comes in and says, we want a facility, then again, it's a community facility. The community owns the YMCA. It is not owned by the president CEO. He has no stock in it, except he is a citizen of El Paso, and that is his stock. So YMCA would be the city of Socorro. So we love the opportunity to come in and provide programming here at the city of Socorro through our school systems and through the facilities that you all possibly have in your fine city.
Can I jump up with that?
Of course, he has to.
I have. And just to let you guys know what's already happened, where we are and what we are doing. Bill ran a basketball program a year ago right there on Socorro Road. We have been working with the T-Woods about providing programs at their facility. Last summer, we started doing swim lessons at the El Paso County pools. We taught 54 swim lessons in cadence. This year, we're actually managing the county pools. So we're excited about just kind of this expansion. As Bill said, 3 years ago, everything we did was within our four walls. And I've been pushing staff, he chuckles at that because he gets pushed a lot. Staff and volunteers to make those entrees into the community so we can go talk to people and begin doing more stuff. Give me a bottle of water, I can teach a child to swim. Give me a field, we can do sports.
The reason I mentioned that because I attend the YMCA in Greenwood. I know Mr. Loya very, very well. He's a good friend of mine. And he supported the YMCA on Greenwood for remodeling the whole building.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the people that do attend the YMCA there on Greenwood are Socorro residents. And that's why I just thought I'd mention it, because something like that, would be beneficial to the city. We travel all the way down there, and it's a long ways to go out there every day. I know that some of our people that attend are here right now.
Right.
Right, Mr. Soto?
Correct.
Of course, he just goes and sleeps there and he's seen them.
I've caught him on that.
You're the one that waked them up?
You're gonna only one.
In all honesty, that would be something that would be beneficial.
Absolutely, and it helps to build identity too.
Yes.
You know, it begins, again, these things begin with the programs, begins with the people. And as you build that groundswell of public support, then it makes it feasible to actually have that large facility. And that comes about through capital campaigns. That comes about through different getting all sorts of different ties together so that you can have the funding to build that. A full facility, that's a $6-7 million operation to build, and then to actually run. And I know from my years of YMCA experience, if you build it, they will come doesn't work too good. That's right. The best, the most successful YMCAs start with the programs. And they start with those facilities that are borrowed. They start with those places that are leased. And you kind of keep on adding in. As Bill mentioned, the central YMCA in downtown El Paso was sold to the city of El Paso in 2007. I arrived in time to throw everybody out. That was my job. You're a good guy. Get everybody out of here so you can find new owners. And I made a commitment to Central El Paso at that time. We weren't going to abandon Central El Paso.
Today, we're still serving more people in central El Paso, and we don't have the facility the city has anymore. By doing the HIPPY program through AmeriCorps, the VISTA program for financial literacy, we're hosting a VITA site at our corporate office. We're operating sports leagues.
Which is what is VITA?
Oh, VITA, I'm sorry, VITA is Voluntary Income Tax Assistance. Bill houses the largest VITA program in El Paso County at the Bolden Family YMCA. Last year, that program brought $1.4 million back to the economy in income tax refund. And we're excited that we're able to do that. Just my corporate office is no bigger than this room.
Yeah.
And we're expecting to process over 500 returns this year. Getting this church that came to us and said, we've got a gymnasium that's a concrete floor, the paint's kind of chipping, can you do something? And we said, absolutely. We held a Christmas party there in December, gave out gifts to 300 children. And that was a party that was sponsored by Walmart. And now this month we begin youth sports over there so that we can continue to grow and develop and build that community so that those folks, those children, those parents, those families, those adults can connect with one another. I keep saying we're a community that's wired but not connected. How can we bring people together? And it starts with just a simple program.
One of the other big issues is 3 years ago we were an island. It was just the YMCA. And today, if you look who our partners are, we have the AmeriCorps program. We have, in the association, we have about 30 people that are volunteering at our branches, out serving the community in different areas. We're partners with churches. Grant writing has increased. So we bring in that collaboration from outside and bring that into wherever we go and help build the community.
The Achieve process that brought us here is part of that, part of working with other organizations.
You and I have talked before, and I had asked you if you could start the community center here in Eureka. And you said that it was.
Absolutely.
So is that where you start?
Absolutely. Any other questions? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
We have a motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Madrid, and this is to approve item number 12. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia Sanchez, Gloria Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 10, discussion and action on proposed rezoning on Lot 10, Lot 2, La Joya subdivision from R1 single family residential to R3 high density residential.
Mayor Council, this is an approval request for the proposed rezoning of Lot 1, Block 2, La Joya subdivision, City of Socorro, Texas, from R1 single family residential to R3 high density residential. Owner Carlos Aguilar and Carlos Aguilar units. The agent is Nicolas Antonio. The property is located at N501 Santa Paula right at the intersection with Buford Road. The property has an approximate area of 20,000 square feet. According to the flood insurance break map, the reference property lies within an area determined to the outside of the 500-year floodplain, more particularly described as Zone X. La Joya subdivision was recorded in March 1987 with 119 residential lots classified as R1 single-family residential. The existing zoning classification of the property is R1 single-family residential. The current land use of the property is vacant. The proposed zoning classification is R3 high density. The proposed use of the land would be multi-family dwelling project. According to our future land use map, the projected land use for this property is residential. Adjacent land uses: to the north, special use zone, which is Scontrías Elementary. To the south, C1 light commercial. To the east, A1 agricultural. To the west, R2 medium density residential. The planning department has received the following documentation today: request for rezoning application fees, project deed, title guarantee tax certificate, and a proposed plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval. This is the location of the property. This is Buford. This is Santa Paula. You have in your report, you have a proposed site plan as well as a projected perspective of a project. According to the plan, this is just preliminary plan. They are planning to have 8 units here. You can see the proposed plat at the very end. They plan to have 8 units, and on R3 classification, they are allowed to have up to 30 per acre. And they are planning to have 7 or 8. Obviously, depending on the final project, when they are in construction or development process, because they need to comply with the accessibility, the ingress and egress, as well as the parking area. So the max number of units will be 8.
You said how many units they want to build? 8?
8? Yes, sir.
And this property is less than half an acre?
Is less than half an acre. It's 20,000, approximately 0.48.
Are they going to have parking space within the acreage, or is it going to be
Within the project? This is the proposed project.
You mean, this one you have?
Yes, was analyzed as an internal commission.
Well, I have a, actually, I have a concern. Yeah, I have a concern. Number one is, it's R3. Didn't we have a moratorium against R3?
Not in place.
When did that expire?
I don't have the exact date, but it's more than a year ago.
So this is the first time we've had an R3 come to us then in the district. I know that we haven't approved an R3 since then. The reason why the city stopped R3, just for people's historical knowledge, is that when you live next to Waco, those beautiful homes, beautiful, I mean, prettier than that picture. But when you open the window, you can touch your neighbor's house. It's, like you said, up to 30 units on an acre. And the concern with the R3s is that although they tell us we're going to do this, once they get the R3 designation, which is very hard to get in the city of Socorro because historically we learned our lesson a long time ago, which is that R3s are bad for this community. Especially, it attacks the historic nature, which is that we have good-sized lots that go with these homes. Those small land-wise cookie-cutter homes, you find those elsewhere. So historically, we've always, or at least me personally also, I take a very strong stance against R3. They try those other areas, especially along these semi-major arteries. You look at Buford, just like you look at Passmore in the mornings. And this is Buford right here. If you look in the mornings, 8 o'clock in the mornings, it's backed up all the way past the school. So when we put these high-density residential communities, for instance, 8 units on less than half an acre, then we open ourselves up to, if somebody then goes and purchases this piece of property and says, you gave them an R3, why wouldn't you give me an R3? So to avoid those type of liabilities also, we just said, in these areas where there's already congestion issues, which Buford, in my opinion, would be one of these high congestion issues, we don't allow our police to go through. At least that's still my stance on this.
Yes. Well, you also have the issue of Buford, north of Alameda, which is going to be enlarged. And what I understand, the text that right here, where Alameda comes in, I guess it would be like this. As it is, there's a high influx of traffic here. Once it gets, or rather, Horizon, right here out there, once this gets enlarged, there's going to be more traffic, which is going to affect this area here. In other words, there's going to be a lot of traffic in the near future once Horizon is wide. So you got to consider that too, along with the residential buildings. There's going to be a lot more. Say there's 8, just for the sake of speaking right now, there's 8 units. Each unit is what, 2, 3 bedroom or what?
The units are approximately 2 bedrooms, about 850 square feet.
Oh, you're looking at a family of what?
About 3.
3?
Traditionally, it's been either a single person with a young child or a couple, and Mr. Gandara, Councilman Gandara, when we say we're going to do something, my firm has been in business for about 25 years, and we say we do what we're going to say, and we say that the conceptual looks like that. That's pretty much what we do. If you look at all our rental properties, they're very well maintained. This will have tremendous tax value compared to what you have right now. You have a vacant lot where a lot of people sometimes just park and sell their vehicles or what have you. This will probably add about $500,000 to your tax value once it's said and done. And there's already a lot of commercial, on Santa Pablo Street. There's a church, there's a beauty salon there. That land is worth. This area here, that's a junkyard. Which is pretty much of a big eyesore from this area here. I would commit to putting a 6-foot block wall here. It would add to the aesthetics of the neighborhood. Okay. It would add to the property values here. And it would add to the overall tax base. As far as parking, there would be on-site parking. And that's something that's dictated by the code anyways, on the on-site parking.
How many lights would you have?
Huh?
Lights.
Lights, I have, you have to have an outside light on each of the units. Okay, but for security purposes, we put a light for the parking area also. Okay, and that I don't know if that's in your code, but I would have no problem making it part of the requirements.
In the past, they had subdivisions with not enough lighting, and now we're trying to put lights there. And they should have been from 5 million.
We put them anyways because we have an insurance rate reduction as part of our safety standards.
So why did you put the
a master light in the parking facility.
The master plan still has a lot of bearing on some issues as these, when you have the zoning change. You have a higher intensity of people in a small area, as it was made by Representative Granda. And that's why we have the master plan. We started the master plan, so all these issues will be taken care of by the master plan, rather than us doing it and then having problems later on in the future. Because they're the ones that are entrusted to plan out the city in a legal and as the best comedian way in and out of the street.
With all due respect, Councilman, I have been waiting on this master plan for about 3 to 4 years now. Okay? And I have had my application before you. When you put the moratorium, my application was in process. In the prior administration, you all were going to do the master plan. Okay? That never got done. Okay? I took out my application to give the city of Socorro ample time to complete the master plan at the time. Okay? And it was, for whatever reason, it was not done, it was not completed, I don't know. Okay? I submitted this application back in August. Okay? State law says that you need to provide me an answer within 90 days. And I believe, Mr. Soto, you have a copy of that. Okay? And it has been more than the 90 days. And, you know, we're already in the year 2011 when I started this process in the summer of 2010. So it is way past the 90 days. However, you know, due to respect to your positions, I wanted to inform you about my intentions.
So, with all due respect, sir, the reason that master plan is not in place is not because of us.
I'm not saying it's
Okay, first
I'm
of
saying
all, I just wanted to
it's-
provide you with some information. It's not because of us. It was something that was turned down a few years back. Okay, we came in and we initiated the master plan now for reasons like yours. So,
I hope it's
well, it is. It, like I asked the city manager, how far off are we from getting complete? He said it should be done by summer.
Okay. And I don't think, at least for me, the master plan isn't, once we get our master plan, you'll get this. I don't think that's a promise or anything we're trying to make to you. That's not what I'm making to you. What we're saying is that, at least for me with the master plan, is that it gives us the ability for infrastructure to know how we're going to handle the already problem that's there, which is the congestion, and what you're going to contribute to, which is when you put those more sub units in that area. That's as far as the master plan. Again, the R3 gives you the ability to resell it to, and I understand that you say, well, you know, in the 20+ years, but for myself at least, it's my responsibility to look out for the community, not to look out for the developer. I do understand there's a financial interest in it for you. You make money off of those developments, or else you wouldn't build them. I get that. R3s allow you to put more homes on that property, and in essence, make more money. I understand that. But I think what we're trying to convey to you, and just real quickly, there's another apartment complex called Mission Pass. It's located on Socorro and Wingdinger. It's basically the only other apartment complex, one right behind of Diamond Shamrock. Because earlier you said my credibility, when I say something, is my word. Earlier you said that this situation will bring $500,000, your words, not mine. $500,000 of revenue to the city, of tax base.
of tax value.
Of tax value. Mission Pass, which is on 1.5 acres, which is considerably larger than your less than half an acre. And it is, that one by the El Paso CAD is deemed at $477,000. So if the apartment complex on Socorro and Wingdinger doesn't make the $500,000 of tax base, I don't understand how you can make the claim that your subdivision, which is less than half an acre, is gonna surpass the marketing appraisal of this other entity. So again, going to your credibility, when you said, when I say something, it's my word. So I would take a little bit of issue with that you make that statement when it appears to be completely overinflated. So, I mean, I'm gonna go back to when those homes are built, it has more congestion, the people that are gonna complain is gonna be to the city. They're not gonna complain to the school district, which I'm sure would love to get that extra revenue, because the school district's gonna take those kids. They're gonna complain about why does it take 20 minutes to get from my home onto Alameda or Square Road. Those are the complaints that we hear, that's the complaints I hear on Passmore. And that's why I take the position that I do.
Well, I'm here to discuss a project, and I stand by my values. I'm a certified appraiser, so, and I would take issue with some of the values that the Central Appraisal District issues out. That's, that's for them to address, not myself.
Then why would you make that statement? If you're stating to me that you're not the El Paso CAD, you can't do appraisal.
Okay, Mr. Aguilar, let's not get into an argument with one of the city council. What I'm going to say is, look at this project here. Right now, you go into that land, and you go next door and go to the front, to the south. There's a trucking firm there that has a in and out, whatever they do. On the other side, on the north side, it's a very ugly place. Very, very ugly. You know, this is why Socorro never gets ahead. Because look at this picture. Now, Mr. Aguilar, if you're going to say that you're going to do this, you know, I hope you do it. And you don't put 10 apartments or houses there. If you say you're going to do it, do it. This is why council sometimes gets mad. Because, yeah, developers come in here and they say they're going to do something and they never do it. And this picture is very pretty. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's a very nice picture. But is it going to be like that? This is, you know, yes, the school district wants the tax revenue. Of course they do. But we also need it. We're a poor city. But I do agree with Mr. Gandara sometimes, you know. Not the majority of the times, but sometimes I do. You know, if you're going to do what you say you're going to do, I hope you do it if they do pass it. Now the congestion, it's already there. It's not eight little homes or whatever you call them. It's not going to make a big difference. Okay, being very honest, it's not going to make a big difference. We need to start moving forward. Please, you know, we can't hold the city back with this master plan. Okay, the master plan is there, okay, but we're not going to stop building because of this master plan. We just cannot do it. I mean, I know it's 6 or 7 months away, but we cannot do it. This city has to move forward.
It's going to move forward in the right way.
Well, this is not the wrong way, Mr. Madrid, with all due respect, sir.
The constituents out there who have the property.
I do ask them.
But
That place in the back, it's a nice one. I mean, it's really ugly. I mean, we're going to discuss on cleaning out lots. You know, good that you brought up that. That's you know, we need to clean a lot of our lots that we have in our city. This lot has been empty for a long time. The place next door to it. So I don't know. I just saw this picture. And, you know, I just think we should. You know, you guys should seriously think about it.
And I just want to reiterate to the council is that I do like your idea. My concern goes back to congestion, and I get that it's only 8 lots, but where this city will find itself in real quick legal liability is when there's a lot of open land there on Buford. And the moment we give you the R3, then somebody can make a claim against the city when they come with their 6 acres to develop into an R3. Why did you give it to this person, not me? That is called spot zoning, and that gets the city into very big legal issues. So again, very nice picture. I wish there wasn't any congestion on Buford to the extreme that it is. And again, in my opinion, it's an extreme, the congestion here on Buford. But there is. And so for us to contribute it, also knowing that we're going to open ourselves up to legal liability by spot zoning, and saying, we like Mr. Aguilar, but we don't like Mr., you're coming with an acre and a half, and that's different from half an acre. That's gonna get us in a lot of legal issues, so it's across the board. If it were anybody else, it'd be the same position. If you're putting it right on Alameda, you wouldn't have any issues with me. It's the location where you're trying to build it, and it's the opening us up to legal liability that concerns me.
Well, I think that every project should be looked at its own merit. If somebody else comes forward later on for another rezoning, that should be considered on its own merits. As far as your community input, there was a portion for the public hearing. I think your process that you have as far as applying and then having it considered before planning and it being approved before planning and then having a public hearing is an excellent process. That process was followed. There was no major opposition from the residents there. So you have given the residents an opportunity to breathe or bring their concerns forward.
I'm gonna have to, again, take issue with credibility issues. When statements are made like that community was notified, on city council, we know enough that they do a circumference around that property of how many feet? 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet? 200 feet. So when you look at that property and you look at your community, 200 feet around that property, you're probably going to get about 5 or 6 homes. So again, it's statements like that community was notified, when in actuality that community wasn't notified, because as you can see from the map, there is no community of any significance around that open property 200 feet around. So, I mean, you can't take it on its own merit in council because, again, somebody who has a legal challenge to the city that they were picking and choosing who we like, if we allow one person to get R3 and not the others on that city, so, on that street. Was there already a motion on the floor?
No.
I'll make a motion tonight.
In that regard, I think it would be advisable if you indicated some basis for that, because if you have a challenge, you need to just generally articulate your basis for that. One of the things I heard was the issue of the density being too large for the neighborhood and surrounding properties, but it would be advisable for you to indicate in a general way what reasons that you have for the decision that you make.
For me, it's congestion on that issue. It's the lack of infrastructure to handle as far as streets, the forthcoming of the master plan, amongst other things.
Excellent project there.
And including that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We do have a motion made by Jesse Gambino and seconded by Mr. Madrid. And this is to deny due to congestion, lack of infrastructure, and forthcoming of a master plan. Mr.
Amongst other things.
Amongst other things.
Yes.
Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez?
I'm gonna say no, because I think maybe 8 minutes not make that much of a difference. But then,
And Jesse Gambino.
Yes.
Item number 13, discussion and action for authorization to approve the City of Socorro's professional services procurement process. Number 13.
Mayor, Council, this is simply reaffirming your existing procurement process for professional services. This is at the request of TxDOT as a final element so that we can proceed with the Safe Routes for School Sidewalk contract. And this is the final thing before final approval by them to issue us the contract.
We do have a motion made by Jesse Gambino and seconded by Gloria Rodriguez. And this is to approve item number 13. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez?
yes.
And Jesse Gambino.
Yes.
Item number 14, discussion to approve the city manager's recommendation to employ a court clerk for the municipal court.
Mr. Soto?
Mayor, Council, we had a very robust process for this position with the city. We had 14 applicants and 4 finalists were interviewed by our committee. The person we're selected, we're recommending to you for approval, comes with a lot of managerial experience in the area of courts, where she served as the county collections court supervisor for a total of 4 years at the county courthouse in El Paso, and worked with all the judges and all their rulings and all their orders, and in terms of what fines would be assessed and what other legal matters would occur. And so she comes with exactly the kind of experience that we want in order to manage our municipal court and assist our judge in everything that he does in terms of taking care of those legal matters. So with that, I'd like to recommend to you for the position of court clerk, Ms. Laura Luera.
Table that.
I'll second.
Mr. Madrid?
The approval of the table.
We have a motion to approve the recommendation of Mr. Soto for Laura Loera.
Well, I still don't,
Do you have questions?
yeah, I have questions. I'd like to know what this lady is, first of all. Is she here present?
She's not in attendance tonight. I described her background for you. I mean, clearly, I think what's pertinent here is the 4 years of managerial experience as supervisor for county collections at the county courthouse in the city of El Paso, where she handled or worked with many judges and their orders and the collection of the fines relative to the defendants that came forward to those judges. So she knows all the ins and outs of that state law and that process. And I think given that managerial experience, it'll be very beneficial to the city.
Who sat on? Who sat on?
Our HR director and our municipal judge. And then I interviewed, after they interviewed the finalists.
All right. Yes.
Mr. Soto, did any one of the employees that we had here in the city, were they one of the final 4?
Yes, sir.
Is this lady from the city or is she from outside the city?
I believe that she has roots here in the city. I can't tell you right now whether she resides right now in the city. But she could be. I don't remember that specifically. But she could be a current resident of the city.
Yes.
Mary Garcia Sanchez, Gloria Rodriguez.
She votes.
Gloria? And Jessica.
Yes.
Item number 15, discussion and action for authorization to provide a 58-day contract extension to CSA Engineers in Construction to complete the reconstruction of Donna Marie Street.
Mayor and Council, this 2-month contract extension is as a result of the contractor performing their work and discovering pipelines from the Lower Valley Water District that weren't buried to the appropriate depth that they should have been. So they had to stop their work on that project that's been ongoing for quite a while now on a grant in order to allow the Lower Valley Water District to come back in and move those lines to the appropriate depth by ordinance and law that they should be, so they could continue their work. So we're requesting this 2-month extension that will go to about mid-March. We actually have a month more than that to complete the project, but this is done as a result of the contractor not being able to do the work on their own. This is as a result of the Lower Valley Water District having to come in and remove their pipes and dig deeper and place them at the appropriate depth.
Motion to approve, sir.
We do have a motion made by Jesse Ganda, seconded by Gloria Rodriguez, and this is to approve item number 15. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez? And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 16, introduction, first reading and calling for a public hearing on an ordinance amending ordinance number 25 requiring the maintenance and cleaning of developed and undeveloped tracts of land and/or large buildings and the removal of graffiti in the city of Socorro, Texas, providing procedure to compel landowners to clean and maintain overgrown lots and dilapidated structures, and further providing a procedure for assessment of penalties and recording of liens.
Motion to approve.
We do have a motion made by Jesse Ganda, seconded by Gloria Rodriguez, and this is to approve item number 16. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez? And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 17, introduction, first reading and calling for a public hearing on an ordinance amending ordinance number 76, amendment 1A, the zoning ordinance, section 8.10, SU-1 special use zone, to amend and clarify the list of special uses in the subsection C2, therein to amend and clarify exceptions to the zoning ordinance set forth in section 312C, and to conform with applicable Texas law, including local government code section 211.013C, and recorded case law and opinions of the Office of the Attorney General.
Motion to approve.
We do have a motion made by Jesse Ganda, seconded by Gloria Rodriguez, and this is to approve item number 17. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia Sampson, Gloria Rodriguez, and Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 18, discussion and action to approve the city manager's recommendation to employ the city clerk for the city of Socorro.
Mr. Soto?
Mayor, Council, again, we had a very significant pool of applicants. We had a total of 14 applicants for this position. We had 3 finalists that were interviewed by the committee, and I too interviewed all 3 finalists after that. The person that we're recommending for this vacant position at this time comes to us with a bachelor in finance, with lots of accounting experience. He actually managed 3 different restaurants simultaneously and did all the planning, ordering, did all the profit and loss statements, organized the hiring of the personnel, and took care of budget, cash control, and dealt with a lot of the public issues. So he comes with a lot of organizing experience, which is exactly what we want in a city clerk, in order to help organize our meeting agendas here, to maintain all our contracts, to maintain all our ordinances, and those kinds of things. So he comes with that kind of background. The gentleman is bilingual, so that will be helpful for our city as well, given this person deals with a lot of public when they come into our administrative offices, and has plenty of background in dealing with the public. So I'm just giving you a 5,000-foot resume of the particular person that I'm going to recommend to you, and his name is Mr. Manuel Rubio.
Is he here?
No, sir, he's not here.
Second, but will you answer, who served on that committee?
Sir?
Who served on that committee? Who served on that committee?
Again, our municipal judge and our HR director.
And then they interviewed them?
And then I interviewed all 3 of them after they interviewed, and then they made one final recommendation to me, and then I put that into my overall recommendation for this recommendation to you.
Mr. Madrid?
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez? And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 19, discussion and action on civil service training.
Go ahead, Mr. Nava.
Mayor and Council, look at the backup. The Texas Municipal Human Resources Association is putting on a workshop for employment law and civil service. It's a civil service commission which has a lot of power in the city and basically carries a lot of liability for the city, whether to reinstate appropriately or not. So therefore, I think it's important that we get them some training. And I'm making the form of motion to cover the expenses associated with sending the Civil Service Commission, the city manager and his designees to the Texas Municipal Human Resources Association, February 9th to the 11th, 2011. Second.
We have a motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Jesse Ganda, and this is to approve item number 19. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 20.
Number 11.
It was approved under the consent agenda. Item number 20, discussion and action on license and discretionary funds.
Go ahead, Mr. Nava.
Mayor and Council, I put this on the agenda because due to the recent vacancy that will be taking up later on with District 1, I didn't want that district to lose out on any potential services. So since we have the at-large council member, I'd like to then notify administration in the form of motion to allow District 1 funding for his discretionary fund and lights to be released to the at-large council member. Second.
Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 21, discussion and action on technology services.
Mayor and Council, I put this on the agenda because the last time I think we went out to request qualifications or proposals for technology service was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. So it's time to relook at that. So I put this on here to allow the administration to put that out to the public. Technology services. Make it in the form of a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
And I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Madrid, seconded by Jesse Ganda to approve item number 21. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez? And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 22, discussion and action on election training and budget training.
Go ahead, Mr. Nava.
Mayor Council, again, if you look at the backup, this time we have the Texas Municipal Clerks Certification Program, which is the City Clerk Association. They're putting on two valuable trainings, one of them being the election law seminar, and the other one being the budget process, which for the election law seminar, I recommend we send the city clerk and assistant city clerk. And for the budget process, not only do we send the city clerk and assistant city clerk, but also include the senior accountants, so we should deal with budget. And we have a formal motion.
Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia is absent. Gloria Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Jesse Ganda.
Yes.
Item number 23, discussion and action on resolution accepting resignation of city council member and declaring vacancy.
Go ahead, Mr. Soto.
Mayor, Council, I'm going to ask our legal counsel to review the matter with you.
Okay, you will recall that the City Council had initiated pursuant to the provision of the city charter a recall process with respect to the councilman for, I believe, District 1, and that the subsequent to that time, which is also anticipated by the city charter, a resignation was submitted to the mayor by the District 1 representative. The submission of that resignation terminates the recall process pursuant to the city charter. But what it does is initiate a process of filling or creating and filling a vacancy. There is no real clear delineation in the statute as to whether or not the resignation itself creates the vacancy, or whether or not it's your action in response to the resignation that creates the vacancy. Obviously, the resignation could not be withdrawn if it was properly submitted. I think the notice was given to this individual to be present tonight if there was any concern with respect to the City Council's possible action on the resignation. I would ask whether or not he's present and wishes to make any comments before you take action. That's for due process purposes. And then the content of the resolution simply tracks what's happened and indicates that you are calling a special election for the purpose of filling that vacancy and for the recall that you previously authorized for the uniform election date in May of 2011. That is the second Saturday in May. And if we looked at our calendar correct, the 14th, which is in your resolution, is in fact the second Saturday in May of 2011. You would be required, in order to do that, you could not consolidate the existing recall issue and the issue of filling the vacancy. Although the vacancy is exempt from the state's mandate regarding recalls and when they have to be conducted, the state takes the position, the Secretary of State's office takes the position, and frankly, I can't contest that they're not correct on that position, that you cannot consolidate a recall election with a vacancy election. So even though the vacancy election could perhaps be called sometime in advance of May, it seems to make more sense to consolidate those two, conduct those elections at the same time, and at the regular date. You may indeed be able, because of other things that are going on, perhaps since that's a uniform election date, to save some of the expense associated with the election as well, because the county is mandated to the extent that they can to share those election expenses among the various jurisdictions involved. So the resolution before you calls for, first of all, acknowledges receipt of and declares that position as being vacant. That creates the need for the election for someone in that position. It calls a special election for that purpose to be conducted on the 14th of May, which is the second Saturday of May in 2011.
Go ahead, Mr. Soto.
Mayor, council, question for Mr. Wallace. I may have an earlier copy of the resolution, but the May election timeframe is contained on this. And I only have one page of it. I want to make sure council has both pages of it. Or do they just have one? That was an earlier version. You have a...
I don't know whether I had it with me or not, but I know that version was prepared for the 14th of May.
So I wanted you all to be cognizant of that if it's not in your copy there, that is contained in that resolution, that we would have the election call for the uniform election date on May 14th for the recall and for the replacement of the vacant position.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
We do have a motion made by Jesse Gajera, seconded by Mr. Madrid, and this to approve item number 23. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia Sampson, Gloria Rodriguez, and Jesse Gajera.
Yes.
We move into executive session.
Motion to move to executive.
We do have a motion made by Jesse Gajera, seconded by Gloria Rodriguez, and this is to move into executive session. Mr. Madrid?
Yes.
Mary Garcia Sampson, Gloria Rodriguez?
Yes.
and Jesse Gondar.
Yes.
We move into executive session at 7:59.